Daily life was partially affected yesterday due to the nationwide general strike called by the Pushpakamal Dahal Madhav Kumar Nepal faction of the ruling Nepal Communist Party. Even as the public sentiments have been against any kind of strike that cripples life, the organizers said that yesterday's shutdown was imperative to the protest against the repeated breach of the constitution by the government. Good morning, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. Daily life across the country partially affected due to the nationwide general strike called by the Dahal Nepal faction of the NCP. Violence erupts at several places. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli accuses the disgruntled faction of defaming the communist movement. Cadres of the Oli faction carry out a massive rally opposing the shutdown. U.S. President Joe Biden announces changes in foreign policy, including ending its support for offensive operations by its allies in Yemen, increasing the number of refugees accepted by the U.S. And Chelsea defeat Tottenham by a solitary goal at the English Premier League as they continue their unbeaten start under new boss Thomas Tuchel. Daily life of the people across the country was partially affected yesterday in the face of the nationwide general strike called by the Pushpakamal Dahal Madhav Kumar Nepal faction of the Nepal Communist Party. The faction had announced the general strike, accusing Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli of appointing officials in the constitutional bodies breaching the constitution. Chairman Pushpakamal Dahal himself joined the protest program in the capital's Pulchok area. The effects of the nationwide general strike was felt in several parts of the country. Security was beefed up. However, leaders and cadres of the Dahal Nepal faction had proceeded with the protests at various junctions since early yesterday morning. Protests were staged in Kathmandu's Kalanki, Chaba Hill, Gongabu, Ratna Park, among other places. The number of vehicles plying on the streets was significantly low in the morning, but vehicular movement increased later in the day. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has accused the disgruntled faction for defaming the communist movement under the guise of communism. Addressing a gathering in the capital yesterday afternoon, Premier Oli alleged the Dahal Nepal faction, without naming them, of not assisting the two-third majority government and discredit the communist movement. In another context, Premier Oli mocked Chairman duo Pushpakamal Dahal and Madhav Kumar Nepal of the disgruntled faction for using vehicles to join the protest on the day they had called a general strike. Prime Minister Oli also viewed that the two chairmen needed to come to the street yesterday as the faction was short on cadres. Meanwhile, the cadres of the KP Sharma Oli faction carried out a massive rally yesterday opposing the nationwide general strike called by Dahal Nepal faction of the ruling Nepal Communist Party. The rally that started from the capital's Exhibition Road moved towards Putali Sadak before taking round of the several places in the capital. The cadres of the Oli faction informed that the rally was organized by volunteers that are participating in today's assembly in the capital's Darbar Marg. The Oli faction of the ruling Nepal Communist Party that is set to host an assembly has assumed that yesterday's nationwide strike called by the Dahal Nepal faction is directed at their show of strength scheduled for today. COVAX, a campaign for vaccination against coronavirus, is going to roll out 2.25 million doses of grant vaccine to Nepal within 5 months. The vaccine manufactured by the Serum Institute of India will cover 3.3% of the country's population. Earlier, India had provided 1 million doses of vaccine also as grant. Even as the vaccine received under grant does not cover the country's overall requirements, the government is yet to show any inclination to procure vaccines on its own. We have more in this report.
The COVAX initiative, a campaign set up by the World Health Organization, the European Commission and France to ensure an easy and equitable global access to COVID-19 vaccines for 145 countries, published its first distribution list on Thursday. As per the list, Nepal will avail of 2.2 million doses developed by the AstraZeneca Oxford and produced by the Serum Institute of India. COVAX is planning to provide doses to immunize 3.3% of Nepal's population in the first phase. The government, meanwhile, has stated that it is taking initiatives to bring the subsidized vaccine at the earliest possible. Earlier, Nepal had received 1 million doses of vaccine under the Indian Assistance Program. Under the first round of the vaccination program, forefront health workers, security personnel, among others, are being vaccinated from 27th of January. As of Thursday, more than 158,000 individuals have been vaccinated. Meanwhile, China has assured that it would provide 300,000 doses of the vaccine as a grant. However, the government is yet to approve the Chinese assistance. The first phase of the vaccination campaign is coming to an end coming Saturday. The government is yet to roll out vaccines for a large part of the population, while the government looks bent on receiving vaccines in grant. Even as COVAX has committed to roll out vaccines for 20% of the country's population, it is still not clear when the remaining 16.7% vaccine will arrive in the country.
In our Public Voice segment, we had asked players and athletes in Sinduli what should be done by the local administration for the development of sports. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
ग्राउन्ड बनाउनु पर्यो फुटबल ग्राउन्ड राम्रो छैन त्यसमाथि कोचहरुको अब राम्रो कोचहरु राम्रो ल्याएर ट्रेनिङ दिनु पर्यो
खेलको क्षेत्रमा चाहिँ केही बजेट छुटाउनु पर्यो
स्कुल लेभलदेखि नै ल्याएर चाहिँ नगर स्तरीय या जिल्ला स्तरीय लाने हिसाबले चाहिँ त्यो हिसाबले लगानी पनि गरिदिनु पर्यो
महिलाहरुको लागि पनि यो खेलकुदहरु एकदम हौसला र सहभागी अगाडि बढाउनु पर्यो
टुर्नामेन्ट चाहिँ एटलिस्ट वर्षमा 2टा या 3टा भएदेखि हाम्रो नयाँ जेनेरेसनको खेलाडीहरु चाहिँ अलिकति उनीहरुको स्किल्सहरु देखाउन मौका पाउँथ्यो
And it's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. And here's the question. What's your take on strikes and show of strength affecting daily life? Your options are A, indifferent to people, B, no constructive ideas, and C, easy option. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And that's all for the moment. Keep watching Kantipur Television HD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.